A reading from Falling for Havoc, a Wattpad novella written by Emmy Randall, Chapter 6, Serenity and Havoc.
On how to end the world. The words escape his lips, and suddenly we find ourselves on a random street in God knows where. I can't even process what he said before he pulls me out of the way to let a group of people pass. Where the hell are we? I ask, glancing around. The street is a bustling symphony of sights and sounds, an overwhelming assault on the senses that leaves me utterly dazed. People jostle past us, their faces blurred in the crowd as vendors shout their wares. Their voices rise above the din to promote their goods. The air is infused with spices, fresh produce, and the sweet scent of fried foods wafting from various stands. Are we in Slaughter Beach? I ask. If we are, it's a section of the city I've never encountered.
No.
Havoc says, pulling me closer. I feel grateful. In this crowd, I would get lost. I thought not. Havoc guides me through the maze of stalls, his hand firmly gripping mine, preventing us from getting separated in the crowd. What are we doing here? I ask, my stomach rumbling. A stall selling grilled squid makes my mouth water as we walk by.
I have an appointment.
He says to me. I watch closely, my eyes widening as I anticipate his next destruction in this bustling area. Finally, we come to a section of the market open to traffic. Cars honk as cyclists weave through the congestion. Havoc walks to the edge of the pavement and stops. Why did we stop? I ask, my heart racing with anticipation. Havoc turns to me with a mischievous grin, his eyes gleaming excitedly.
We're here.
He says, stepping onto the busy street. A truck sweeps by just as a bicyclist darts in front of it, and Havoc. Thankfully, the truck narrowly misses the cyclist but crashes into a large fruit stand, showering everyone nearby with smashed fruit. Fortunately, it narrowly avoids hitting the stall vendor and no one is hurt. That is, until the cyclist jumps the curb, out of control, and collides with a young woman with long dark hair. The impact sends the cyclist and the young woman tumbling onto the pavement. The woman gasps in shock while the cyclist groans and tries to sit up. My jaw drops as I take in the sight. I can't believe what just happened. The accident unfolds in slow motion before my eyes.
And what do you think now, Miss Vaughn? Is there a silver lining here?
Havoc asks as he walks back toward me. I shake my head, still in shock from witnessing the accident. I don't know. I stammer, trying to process everything that happened. As I tried to develop something, I noticed someone stepping through the mayhem. She stands apart from everyone else. It's not just the white suit, golden silk shirt, or her soft platinum hair that shines like the stars in heaven. Her lustrous presence illuminates the already bright day. She shimmers with an otherworldly light. Her flawless porcelain skin radiates a warm glow from within, while her piercing blue eyes hold wisdom beyond mortal comprehension. She doesn't belong in this chaotic world. She exists on a higher plane. As she moves gracefully through the crowd, people unknowingly part for her, as if she were royalty. She stops next to the cyclist and the woman he hit. I notice the poor cyclist humbly apologizing for the accident. The woman looks up at him as the beauty approaches. Her big brown eyes light up with a smile. Though I can't understand what they're saying, it's evident she forgives him. She seems interested in him, almost flirtatious. The injured woman's body language softens, and she lightly touches his arm. It's as if their initial conflict has completely faded in this moment of connection. I grasp Havoc's arm, trying to catch his attention while keeping my eyes on the beauty. Are you seeing this? Havoc grunts beside me, but I hardly notice. The beauty's gaze shifts toward us. My breath catches in my throat as she approaches. I feel like hiding behind Havoc, aware I'm unworthy of standing in her presence. People around us don't seem to notice her or us, for that matter.
Serenity.
Havoc says as the beauty stops before us.
Baby brother.
Serenity looks around at the chaos.
I should have known you were here.
Baby brother! My jaw drops as I shift my gaze between the two of them. I'm stunned by how little family resemblance there is between them. Serenity's gaze drops to me. Her dark blonde brows rise in shock.
Who do we have here?
Havoc steps to the side, exposing me to her. His hand falls to the base of my back, pushing me forward.
This is my assistant, Nadine. Nadine, this is my twin sister, Serenity.
Twin? I whisper in utter disbelief. Serenity's eyes widen in surprise as she takes in my appearance. Her gaze shifts between me and Havoc, confusion washing over her features.
Yes. Twin?
He confirms with a smirk.
Surprised?
I nod dumbly, unable to tear my eyes away from Serenity's face. They don't look like they are related at all, much less sharing a womb at some point if they shared a womb at all. I'm not sure how they came into being,
It's nice to meet you, Nadine.
she says graciously, extending her hand towards me. The moment my hand touches hers, I feel all the power of heaven flowing through my veins. The sensation of holding the hand of purity weighs heavily on me. I know I shouldn't be touching her, so I quickly pull my hand back. Nice to meet you too, I stammer, feeling a strange mix of awe and fear in Serenity's presence. She smiles warmly at me, but something in her eyes sends a chill down my spine.
I see you're here to save the day again.
Havoc mutters. Her gaze returns to him.
And you're here to mess it up. Great job, little brother.
He didn't ruin it, I say, wishing I could take back my words the moment they leave my mouth. Havoc's eyes narrow at me. Serenity's smile falters for a moment before she regains her composure.
Is that so? And exactly how do you figure this?
She gestures to the chaos behind her.
How isn't this his fault?
I stop, shifting my gaze to Havoc. He watches me skeptically as I struggle to find the right words, clearly uninterested in assisting me. The wreck might have been, but if it weren't for him, you wouldn't have been able to do your job either.
Is that a fact?
It's clear from the expression on Serenity's face that she isn't too thrilled about my giving Havoc credit for her work.
I think most would argue that without my influence, those two would have never fallen in love.
If Havoc created this chaos, as you claim, then he also created the opportunity for love to blossom, I retort, feeling a surge of defiance towards Serenity's dismissive attitude. Sometimes chaos leads to unexpected beauty. Havoc raises one eyebrow at my words, a glimmer of amusement dancing in his eyes. Serenity tilts her head in thought before her full pink lips turn up in a subtle smirk.
Interesting view.
Havoc appears neither to agree nor disagree. He watches me curiously.
Well, as much of a joy as it is to see you, dear brother, I have to be off. I have lives to enrich.
Serenity says before she suddenly vanishes before we can say goodbye. As I stand there gawking at the space Serenity stood in, Havoc grabs my arm. Instantly, we are back at his office, staring at his door.
What games are you playing, Nadine?
Havoc barks, snapping me back to reality. I jump, shocked by his sudden outburst. I scowl at him, trying to figure out why he's suddenly so angry. I'm not playing any games? Havoc's eyes narrow as he studies me, his expression unreadable.
Don't lie to me, Nadine. I know you were blowing smoke up my ass to irritate Serenity. Why?
His voice is low and dangerous. I have no idea what you're talking about. Why would I care if I irritated Serenity? I don't even know who she is or what she even is, for that matter. I brush his hand off my arm. Is she a demon too? Asking seems ridiculous. I'm not sure what his twin sister is, but the last thing that fits is a demon.
Serenity is no demon.
He tells me as he strides toward his office and opens the door. I follow him in, hoping he'll shed some light on the situation.
If I'm Satan, then she's God.
He continues, taking a seat behind his desk. I raise an eyebrow in confusion. So she's like the complete opposite of you? He nods, taking a seat behind his desk.
In a way, yes. Serenity embodies all that is good and pure in this world. She's my twin sister, but we couldn't be more different.
He opens a drawer and takes out a bottle of scotch and a glass before pouring himself a very generous cup. I take a moment to process this new information as I sink into the leather chair across from him. So, you mean I just mouthed off to God? He chuckles, taking a sip of his drink.
In a sense, yes.
My throat goes dry. I thought you said God wasn't real.
No.
Havoc sets his glass on the desk and folds his arms as he leans closer.
I said, there's no big man upstairs. This century, she's a woman, and she lives down here with all us common folk.
I sit back in the chair, slowly deflating, as the realization that not only am I working for basically Satan, but now I've mouthed off to basically God. If I had any chance of getting into basically heaven, it's probably gone now. I feel like clarification was needed.
Why? Are you scared of her? It's as if she's in control and you've just angered the wrath of God.
He asks, a twinge of sarcasm littering his voice. I nod slowly. Yeah, kinda. He sighs, pushing back from his desk.
I told you God and Satan were figures created by man. What Serenity and I are is something different, something more primal.
He stands and walks over to the closet door in his office.
Let me show you something.
I stand and walk across the room. When he pulls the door open, I'm confused. On the other side, nothing but blackness awaits us. Havoc takes my hand and leads me in. The first step through the door throws me off. Under my feet is a vast ocean of still calm water. Every step I take makes the sound of a water droplet. He guides me through the dark until I see a spotlight shining down. Despite the light, it's still gray and dim. The closer we get, the more I notice whispers. Thousands of hushed voices are talking, but I can't make out what they say until we get to the dim light.
This is your fault!
A disembodied voice yells. Others soon join it.
Why God?
If there is a God,
I
then
don't
where
need
are
you!
Scream after angry scream. I cover my ears, trying to drown out the voices before glancing at him. Havoc stands beside me, his hands in his pockets, staring at the light. His face remains unreadable. What is this? I yell over the voices.
Prayers to me. You see, I'm the part of man-made religion that they hate, the one they curse when things in their life go wrong.
Havoc turns toward me. With the lighting above, the sharp angles on his face look more profound and menacing. He appears taller, looming over me, and an evil smirk pulls at the corner of his lips.
If you should fear anyone, it should be me.
I would tremble in fear if it were the cloud of sadness rolling in over his eyes while he says that. My gut wrenches as the voices grow. The despair of mankind's deepest pain and anger rattles through me. All hope has drained from the voices. It's more than I can bear. Stop! I shout, gasping for air, and the hate chokes me. The light above shuts off with a sharp click before a yellow glow above us grows and intensifies. It's a warm and comforting light that seems to push back against the darkness of despair and anger. Havoc's expression softens slightly, his eyes flickering with a hint of confusion and curiosity. The voices around us fade, their cries diminishing as the light grows stronger. I take a deep breath, steadying myself as I meet Havoc's gaze head-on. Why would you have a room like this in your office? I ask. Havoc's gaze lingers on me momentarily before he responds, his voice low and contemplative.
This room serves as a reminder.
He says, his tone tinged with a hint of vulnerability.
It reminds me of who I am and how mankind sees me.
Okay, well, it's a biased view that isn't good for your mental health. I shiver at the thought of the voices. I can't imagine willingly submitting to that.
Is it?
I can see its weight pressing down on him, and I empathize with him as he carries such a heavy burden. You don't have to let it define you, I say softly, reaching out to touch his arm in a gesture of comfort. You are more than what others perceive you to be.
I'm not, Nadine. Take yourself as an example. You don't think I don't know who you are?
He faces me. The world starts to darken and the yellow light gradually fades. I feel small next to him.
Your father abandoned you the moment your mom told him she was pregnant. At 10, your grandparents died in a car accident.
He takes a step closer, towering over me.
Before your 15th birthday, your childhood home caught fire, burning every memory you had from when you were a kid. At 16, your mother was diagnosed with cancer. At 17, you lost your home due to crippling medical bills, and at 18...
She lost her battle, I finish. My eyes burn with tears as the painful memories parade before me again. His words hit me like a ton of bricks. How could he possibly know all this about me? I feel exposed and vulnerable. He nods as his jaw tightens.
And who do you think caused all that?
I stare at him in disbelief, unable to comprehend what he's implying. What do you mean, who caused all that? I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. He leans in closer, his eyes drilling into mine.
Me.
He says. My chest tightens as I gaze into his vulnerable face. Pain swirls in his dark eyes as if he's waiting for me to place the blame for the dark moments of my life on him. If that's the case, then thank you.
Thank you?
He scoffs before the room goes completely black.
Thank you for listening to Chapter 6 of Falling for Havoc. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell for more notifications. You can find Falling for Havoc at Wattpad.com or on the Wattpad app. Search for my username reading _mermaid08.